Super, well, Eagles of Nigeria. I nearly said Falcons, but that's a lower team. How is it going to pan out? Where is it going to be played? Cape Coast Stadium, Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi, or neutral ground? Joining us for the discussion here, Gary Al-Smith, who, of course, is large and in charge when it comes to sports right here at the Multimedia Group. Gary, good morning. Thank you for me right here in the studio.
Thank you.
Good morning once more. Good morning. Okay, so how did we end here, Gary? Let me start with you. How did we end here? What is the problem with the Cape Coast Stadium?
Well, we shouldn't have had a problem with the Cape Coast Stadium because, first of all, now the immediate answer to your question will be that last week, Monday, knowing that we have a qualifier on the 25th of March, somehow, as a country, we decided to have our Independence Day celebrations on that same pitch. So that's a simple answer.
Qualifier, at least the first part of it in Ghana. Yet
Yes.
we went ahead on Independence Day to
Yes.
have, the celebration there. So someone obviously wasn't thinking, right?
You can say that because, the draw for Ghana to decide that the GFA had submitted the Cape Coast Stadium to CAF and FIFA for the game, it had been approved. So at the very least, we had 6 weeks to decide and to say, this is where the game is going to be played. We know it has been approved. Let's win. If I can answer, I would definitely be winning the lottery and I'll be on my way to Bahamas now.
Wow. And thank you so much, Gary, for that premise, because it brings a whole lot of stuff into perspective. But Muftau, I don't know, but the mere fact that they used the stadium, what sort of damage? Has it caused damage?
The bigger concern here is
when you say, just put it into context, hugely damaged, what do you mean?
because you take a look at the pitch that that was used for the Independence Day celebration, you'd realize that a part of it became Sakura.
Sakura,
yes.
So there are patches.
There were patches, big patches. Quite interesting. Ghana actually submitted the Cape Coast Sports Stadium to be used for its international matches in 2018. So the first World Cup qualifier that we played against South Africa, that was rather the African Cup of Nations qualifier, against South, apart from the one against Sao Tome and Principe, which was played at Accra Sports Stadium, they've always been played at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. So government knew that the Cape Coast Sports Stadium was the facility Ghana was going to host Nigeria on Independence Day celebration. And this was exactly a month after CAF had given a deadline for countries if you want to change your venue.
Right.
But the regulations...
So we knew there was a deadline. We allowed this to elapse and we...
To the Ghana Football Association. So the Ghana Football Association in turn should have communicated to the National Sports Authority and the Ministry of Youth and Sport because they use state facilities. So when you use state facilities, what do? You need to communicate to people who manage these facilities. When CAF communicated to member associations that December 24 was the deadline, that if you wanted to change your venue for a game, you should do so, Ghana did not communicate. Ghana hanged on at 65th Independence Day celebration. The GFA got a notice on January 25, but wrote to CAF on January 28. On January 29th, CAF got back to the GFA, telling them that you made a proposal that we wanted to use the Cape Coast the Baba Yara Sports Stadium for the game, but the deadline had elapsed. Since it has elapsed, inspection to be used for any international assignment. That was one area that CAF told the GFA. The GFA wrote to the Minister of Youth and Sports, and not even to the National Sports Authority. They wrote to the Minister of Youth and Sports on January 31, telling him that we made a request to change the venue. CAF has told us that we cannot change the venue. CAF, why you are changing the venue with documents.
Backing
the claims. Second, you need to submit with approval from the opposing federation, which is Nigeria. So there should have been a memorandum of understanding between the Ghana Football Association and the Nigeria Football Federation submitted to CAF to be endorsed.
Do we have?
Because per the regulations, it was 90 days. You have 3 months to request. FIFA actually reviewed it to 8 weeks,
Right.
which means 2 months. We knew all these windows. Government was not in the known. GFA were in the known. But I'm not sure GFA also knew that government was going to use the Cape Coast Sports Stadium for.
So someone was obviously. Let me go to Gary. So where we are, it's a very sticky situation. Nigeria could protest, right? If we still go ahead.
They have actually protested.
They have protested.
Okay, so they've gone ahead to protest, which means
Yes.
that I don't know the logic of this or the sequence of events, because now that they've protested, how will that likely shape up? Because we know that there could be the selection as well of a neutral pitch, which would not be in our interest. Yeah. So paint for us how this could shape up.
Well, because Nigeria have protested, it has led to the Confederation of African Football bringing in an inspection team on Sunday to check out.
Where Gary, just to clarify, where the various facilities are, what, Cape Coast and Baba Yara, or just Cape Coast?
Yes, I wanted to take it sequentially. On Sunday, they were at the Baba Yara Stadium to check the facility. We don't know why they came to check it, whether they are probably going to give us what they call in this circumstance under what they call a special dispensation. So the pictures you are seeing right now are of the current state of the Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi. Then yesterday, on Monday, the inspection team was in Cape Coast to check the facility as well. Of course, they will not tell us Ghanaians what their final decision will be. However, what we know is that they think it can do the job or it can do the job. If they tell them that the Cape Coast Stadium cannot do the job of hosting the game, they may, hopefully, for our sake, that's what we are hoping, say that, we are going to check the Baba Yara as well. That one seems to be in a very playable condition. And so let's give them a special dispensation and maybe give them a warning or fine them or something like that, But it must be emphasized, we must state clearly, Mukhtar and I, that allowing us to work with the Baba Yara Stadium will be outside the rules.
Wow.
It will be outside the rules.
So you did touch on something that I was going to inquire about. Could Ghana suffer penalties, sanctions on the back of this, even if the pitch or the venue has to be moved? Are we likely to suffer any penalties? What do the historical antecedents point to?
Well, the biggest penalty you can suffer is the game being taken away from your country and being taken to a neutral ground. And as Mukhtar will tell you, we understand that the options will be either of Cameroon, Benin, or Morocco. I mean, for something like this, no amount of money is too small for Ghana to pay to have the game at Baba Yara, for example. So the biggest punishment or sanction you can be given is to be playing the game in a neutral territory.
How bad is this communications nightmare? And I'll come to you, Mukhtar, shortly. But Gary, just on this. How bad is this breakdown in communications that has culminated in this situation that we find ourselves in, where now we would have to possibly travel twice? So you're likely traveling, expending state money, drawing from the state purse, going to whether Cameroon or whichever other country in North Africa. We're going to spend when we could have kept that money and stayed right here in Ghana, and then also go to Nigeria. I mean, how bad is this situation, this mistake that has been made?
Recent history shows that the Ministry of Sport can scupper our World Cup communication. When Neil Ante-Van-der-Poel was sports minister, he was insistent on saving taxpayers' money in the form of cutting down on how much our players earn in terms of bonuses and all that. The row went so deep that, long story short, because we have just a little time to finish this program, led to Ghana, was a key reason why Ghana did not qualify for the last World Cup. So that is how bad things can go. Because the Black Stars players were very angry that, what they knew as their regular bonuses were not paid. There was a delay in payment. There wasn't communication that the amount had been reduced. And so all Uganda or somebody like that, and that is what happens when there's...
It was against Uganda and we ended 1-1.
Yeah, it's ended 1-1 when it was a game that we should have and could have easily won. You know, there were so many issues around that game. And this is another one. I mean, Benjamin, this is the first time in our history. I want this to sink in for viewers. The first time that people's egos, and let's make no mistake, this is what it is. People's egos at the GFA and the National Sports Authority. The GFA has a fantastic relationship with the Ministry of Youth and Sports. This is the first time that egos have gone so bad that it is coming in the way of select, but that's where we are.
It is what it is, I guess. Muftau, and I'll come back to you with same, but reflecting on the GFA, yes, you can talk about the National Sports Authority, and yeah, we know the picture, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the National Sports Authority, but from the standpoint of the GFA, I mean, we've had our qualification problems, our hurdles with South Africa, then AFCON 2021, and the meltdown, and now this. It appears it's just one problem to another. How does this reflect on Kurt Okraku as head and the GFA generally?
Just before I answer that question, Gary was saying something about the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. The guy who inspected the pitch is supposed to submit his report today. He's Ivan Kutinga from Uganda. He inspected the pitch. And guess what? Some of the most powerful people within government were with him in Cape Coast because they won the game in Ghana. FIFA can decide to let the game be played in Ghana, like Gary mentioned, by giving a special dispensation. Other than that, we'll have to go to Benin, Morocco, or Cameroon to play that game. Let's come back and talk about the ego aspect that Gary spoke about. And that is exactly the question you are asking me. Just the game against, was it Ethiopia or South Africa? There were issues as to who is supposed to print accreditation and match tickets.
Between
the National Sports
GFA
Authority
and the,
and the Ghana Football Association.
Usually what happens?
The relationship usually is the National Sports Authority who prints these things. But the GFA can also say that when we're supposed to print media accreditation, there's no way FIFA is going to sanction, say, the National Sports Authority if we, let's say, Nigeria reports them to FIFA that, okay, the Nigerian media or fans were not given tickets to watch the game. FIFA is definitely going to sanction the Ghana Football Association. When we played the game the game against Sao Tome and Principe at the Accra Sports Stadium, Ghana was fined $5,000. The fine did not go to a National Sports Authority. The fine went to the Ghana Football Association. When a fan invaded the pitch after Ghana played South Africa in Cape Coast, $10,000 fine was imposed on the Ghana Football Association. It didn't go to the National Sports Authority. So the GFA can make the argument that when some of these sanctions are coming, they are coming into our coffers and not that of the Ministry or the National Sports Authority. But FIFA is an institution that encourages collaborative decisions from governments and its member associations. Now, the Kurt Okraku leadership, in April 2021, I think they were very terrible in some of their decisions and their tone in terms of conversations with the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the National Sports Authority. These are two institutions that must work together. If you don't want us to work together, you don't come to tell us that you want to manage the national teams. You've not gotten to a point where you can manage the national teams your own way without support from government.
Okay.
So if the GFA have given them a certain posture that we are in charge of football, government or the government institutions or government agencies will also take a back step and go like, okay, since you want to manage, go ahead and manage. And that is why
that is the problem with the egos.
We must have cool heads between the National Sports Authority, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and the Ghana Football Association if we actually want to succeed.
Let's wrap on this point, gentlemen, and we're going to do about 40 seconds or a minute maximum each. I'll start with you, Gary. How much of an impact do you feel this would have on the fortunes of the Black Stars, especially if we have to go outside the country? But even if the venue is rescheduled and all the cloud of, your pitch is not fit for purpose and we're going here, how do you feel this is going to likely affect the performance of the Black Stars?
Hopefully it wouldn't, but realistically, if you ask any average football following Ghanaian or Nigerian, what the preparations of the two countries have been in the past fortnights, Nigeria seem to be street ahead in terms of, the optics, how they are named. They've named their squad as at last week, Monday or so.
We said we weren't naming our
squad.
squad for the sake of the element of surprise.
Something like that. We say, our technical team don't want to. We can't let people know what a simple pitch can be. So without wasting too much time, the optics and the vibe around us at the moment is not great. Coming on the back of the kind of AFCON we've had, and you've got to ask ourselves the question that you asked, Benjamin, what is happening to the GFA? And that's all. That's what I would end with.
Gary, you're leaving us to reflect on the question with you. What is happening to?
Why is supposed to be answering the question?
You're supposed to be helping us out, Gary. Anyway, but fun way to wrap it up. Your quick take. Your quick take.
I just think there should be a collaborative way of resolving the issues. I'm very convinced, based on my conversation with people at the top level, the game is likely to stay in Ghana. But after this, let's not forget the sanctions that will come, and we must learn from this.
Do you feel it will affect the Black Stars?
It's definitely going to. If we are to play outside the country, because of jet lag and all that, but if we are to stay in Ghana and play, I think it shouldn't be a big issue.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. You've got me thinking so many things, but let's pray for Ghana. For our Black Stars, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. We'll continue praying. Muftau Nabila Abdullahi and Gary Al Smith with our sports team. Gary, thank you so much for joining the conversation. And for those of you who I noticed on social media, you were doing a lot of watching. Thank you so much. We pray for the Black Stars ahead of the 25th. This is how we draw the curtains on the AM show on a sporting note. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Do have a good day.